Welcome to this episode of Wealth Coherence.
There's a great book. I pay my son to read books that I want him to read. And so I had him read John C. Maxwell book called Sometimes We Win, Sometimes We Learn. And it just reminded me of what you just said because, right? I mean, it's about learning, but I mean, how many of us, I know just for myself alone, like if I screw up a podcast interview, an important one, which I did recently, it's like, ugh, all the parts inside want to just go to town on me and
Oh,
beat
I know,
myself
it's
up.
amazing.
And, oh, how could you do that? And that was a big deal. And blah, 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 and so being able to be in observance of that without being identified with it. When I say identified, I mean there's a part of me that believes that I'm an idiot. Like, and believes
Yeah.
the stories about you, right?
Mhm.
And so it's called voluntary suffering. Like I have to suffer what my inner world is dragging me
Yeah.
through, but it's voluntary because the involuntary suffering is when I actually believe what it's telling me.
Yeah, and I think along with the humor, which I think can be really helpful, there's also the it gives us an opportunity to kind of self-parent internally the way we didn't get because we've all been trained to do this based on how we were raised, right? It's like, and
100%.
it's kind of a universal thing in many different ways. And so it's like, oh yeah, of course I was trained to do this. And that's how, like, there was a sense that if you're really critical and hard on somebody, then they're going to learn, or then they're going to get the message, or they're going to get, and it's like, I can have that kind of compassion for myself, appreciate what my parents were trying to do, and then like allow that internal parent to retire. It's like, I'm okay, I'm an adult, and you can relax now. Your job is done, fully raised,
Yeah.
and I can choose how I want to be with this. And it is so interesting because again, it's like this physiological grab, and I find that when you go to that place, right? Oh God, what an idiot. How could I have made that mistake or whatever it might be? And thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that because it's so real. It's such the human experience.
Yeah.
If we can go to that place of where is this in my body, right? Is it in the pit of my stomach? Is it in my jaw really tightening? Is it in my throat feeling like it's going to close up? Is my heart really sad? Like, do I have
Yeah.
tightness behind my eyes? Like, getting physically aware and then breathing into that space and just breathing in from that place of like light and love and nurturing and like bringing that kindness to ourselves in that moment. It doesn't just bring us back to a state of coherence in that moment, but it heals past traumas related to those
Yeah.
things too. Like every time we thought we made a mistake or we were an idiot in some way, and we have that capacity to do at any moment. But again, it means shifting that habit of what's really familiar, which is feeling bad, right? That
Yeah.
addictive quality, our body's like craving that feeling, right?
Yes, it's very addictive, and it reminds me of, this is the other way really that our mind, that I talk about a lot, that our mind tricks us. I do
Mhm.
these Monday muses, and I was just writing a note to myself. I need to do some muses on this. But when guilt is dragging us along, it is very addictive, right? To just get, or maybe it's self-importance, like, I can't believe this happened. This is so ridiculous, right? And we are addicted to our emotions in that way. But one of the things that's happening, particularly with guilt, and I think particularly with women, our mind tends to make us think that if we feel really guilty or we're feeling really bad, we're being productive. Like we are somehow making amends for something, that this is what you do. And if you're feeling guilty, nothing is really happening except you're feeling guilty. In fact, you're kind of doing the opposite of making amends because you're so self absorbed in your own guilt and what a horrible person you are that you're not really looking with any objectivity at what's happening and doing probably or not doing whatever might need to be done. It's different than remorse. Like when you have remorse, you're looking back on something with more objectivity. And you're like, ugh, I wish this hadn't happened. I wish this hadn't been the best I showed up in that moment. And there's more objectivity. But one of the really damaging things about being dragged around by guilt in particular, and I was just talking to someone about this, what is when your mind has you hijacked in that way, what are you not looking at? What are
Yeah.
you not doing? And what you're not doing a lot of the time is showing up in the way, for example, if your aim is, listen, I want to show up for my family and for this, this empire that we have, and I want to be gracious and heartfelt and, really do the best managing of this situation that I can. If that's your aim, and the mind has gotten a hold of you, and so now you're feeling guilty, what you're not able to do in that moment because you're just following this guilt down a trap is the larger aim. You've lost sight of that aim. So now you're muting yourself instead of stepping into yourself. And it's
Yeah.
this wonderful trick that the mind has of keeping you from really being your best self, keeping you from showing up because there's other threats involved to your saboteurs and to those parts of the mind that is trying to keep you safe. If you are to really step into your worth, literally your worth.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. And it reminds me a little bit of the book After the Ecstasy, The Laundry by Jack Kornfield, a
Oh,
Buddhist teacher.
uh-huh.
And he shares about how you can go to these like really like super coherent states and have this amazing flow in your life. And then you go home to visit your parents
Yeah.
and you suddenly are reaching for a drink and you haven't had alcohol in like 8 months or something.
Yeah.
Or, you get back together with some friends all of a sudden and you just go into this like totally incoherent, like habitual state. And it's just like, it's the human experience. And I love that this Buddhist teacher is saying it because it's like, oh, we have this idea. You sit at the feet and you're like really revering them. It's like, no, still have to do my laundry just like everybody else. And,
Yeah.
so it's, this wonderful experience and like embracing what it means to be human,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And just allowing ourselves to be human in all of our foibles, and have like a good sense of humor about it. The more we can laugh at it, the less sway and hold it has on us when it wants to go to that addictive place of feeling bad. And we're not kidding. Like Abby and I have studied this quite a bit in terms of the physiological chemical reactivity in our bodies, that our bodies become reactive and needing to have a hit. We
Yeah.
often hear about like dopamine hits and the hedonic treadmill of like, needing to feel good, and that you need more and more to feel good. But there's also the body feels in a sense good when it gets its hit of feeling bad. And that's something people are very confused about, but it's really true. And just understanding that it's a physiological phenomenon and it's understandable why you would want to go there, and to have this commitment to say, I want that aim. I love that, Abby, this idea of I'm aiming towards a different orientation to life.
Yeah.
That means less sway from that addictive side of me that always wants to go there to, oh, what does life feel like and look like right now when I choose not to? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what you said, I think, I love what you said, because that is so much of what I do in talking about you are a soul in a human body having a human experience here at Earth School. That's what's
Mhm.
happening.
Yes.
So we tend to, particularly spiritual overachievers, we want to forget about the human part. We say, well, I don't like this part of myself. I don't like that I judge myself. I don't like that I feel guilty. I don't like that this is not going to help you. Your parts are your parts. We come in with them. They are going to stay with us. They are our parts, but we can develop a different relationship to them. So I might have a part of myself that wants to judge me or thinks I'm horrible or who's addicted to guilt or shame or anger or whatever. And that
Mhm.
part isn't going to go anywhere, but I can change my relationship to it. If you tell someone you hate them all the time, like, that is not a way to get them to do better for you. Right? Like, so when we're hating parts of ourselves, it's the antithesis of coherence. It's really the
Mhm.
antithesis of what we need to do. And so being able to have more of a neutral, approach, and recognizing that we are human, and there's no negating it, there's no getting around that. And that's why I do
Mhm.
like sharing personal examples, because we live in a world where people are pretending that everything is fabulous and everybody's enraged with everybody else, and nobody's really recognizing anybody's humanity, let alone our own.
Mhm. Yeah, it's so well said. In the families that I really am hoping to serve more and more through this podcast and through writing and the work that I get to do, there's multi generations. And even within those families, there's dynamics around past hurts, past resentments, misunderstandings. So much mischief gets caused by not having transparent communication with each other. And then the reactivity, right, in terms of the I love that idea of a lunatic, but there's like there might be an inner tyrant that like you ask a curious question and you suddenly like the rage is in front of you. How can you question me? And like, why are you? And it's like, well, it's
Yeah.
not safe to be curious in the family. Like that's a big one that can happen. And to be able to just have a sense of like, okay, how can I get back to a place of coherence? And then have empathy and love for somebody that would be so triggered just by a question. And then it's like there's something else there that we can look at. How can we connect with these people in front of us in a new way instead of going to hiding, pretense, shame,
Right.
like all these places, and then not having any kind of authentic relating with each other when there's so much at stake, right?
Right. And like you say, and I mean, like, the only way that we're going to be able to have that type of open mind toward the people around us is when we begin to have that open mind toward ourselves.
Yeah.
And so that comes with beginning to love yourself and beginning to notice where you judge yourself and all of these things, because typically
Mm-hmm.
we are just literally ego parts reacting to ego parts. Like someone is arguing, like, how can you do this with the money? Because they're feeling like you're rejecting them. And then your ego part's like, are you questioning me or why you ingrate? And so then that ego part comes up. Like nobody's having an authentic communication, like heart to heart, soul to soul. And I think for some of these families too, they're in the public eye, with philanthropy and on boards and all kinds of things. And a lot of times, just like every other family, hello, just like every one of us, some of the stuff that's going on behind closed doors is a hot mess, right?
Oh yeah.
And these families, I think, suffer because they feel as though they can't let anybody see the laundry. And
Mm-hmm.
they have a belief that they should have it all together. Everybody has that belief, but when you're really in the public eye like that, it's tough. And when you're trying to like white knuckle that, it's a really tough situation to be in. And it's just part of humanity. And so it's not like you have to
Yeah.
go, dry your laundry out in the streets, but to have an understanding, like, just because we're all given different gifts in this life. We're all given different help, right? Some people are given the help of finance in this world, in this lifetime. They're given this help, right? Other people are given the help of having a really attractive or healthy body, right? Like, I have a son with a disability. The help that he's not gotten help with the physical, but he's gotten really great help with the way that his mind works and his humor and the way
Mm-hmm.
that he naturally is interested in things, right? So if we begin to look at the different things that we have in our life as help that we were given on this journey here on earth this time
Mm-hmm.
around, it's not to be ashamed of, or you have to be somebody different, or you have to, make yourself less than, or any of those things. It's just like, this was the help you got. Maybe somebody else got the help of hitting it big with the first marriage and you didn't get that, right? Like just beginning to have a larger perspective of how you look at what you're given in this life to
Mm-hmm.
go through this particular cycle of life. I don't know if that makes sense. It's a
Yeah,
little.
no, it totally makes sense. I often will hear like one analogy is, you're given your hand of cards, you're dealt your hand of cards, and it's how are you going to play it, right? Or I guess another way to look at it is like if you're the director of your life and you've been given this screenplay, and it's like this character that's in the screenplay, you get to look at how that shows up. Like how do you show up in each of the scenes?